Well, be careful the holidays nowadays for people calling you up asking for money to some nonprofit organization, to save this, help that, or whatever. And it's an easy time, because we all want to give through the holidays, that people prey on this, the telemarketers and things like this, everybody in the mail or something. So there's a lot of outright fraud and even fudging things about trying to raise money during the holidays. And see, there's help to help you decide whether to give to somebody, and it's through your state attorney's general's office. They all have it, or actually most of them have it, and if they don't have it, they'll tell you where to go to get this information. Because some nonprofits, what they do is they spend 80% of the money you give them onto the problem. So if they're giving scholarships, they're giving help to somebody who needs it. A good nonprofit will give about 80% of the money for that. Bad nonprofits give about 10%. So that's why, if you don't know that kind of information, why give to somebody who's going to give only 10% of the money to the problem? And they keep 90%, and then some give zero, because they figure out how to get away with it, or they're just downright fraud. Well, there's an office you could contact that will not only help you determine before you give the money, but also if you get screwed by one of these nonprofits, they'll chase them down, take them to jail, and all these kinds of things. And it's the Attorney General's office. Now watch this video. I interviewed one of these Attorney Generals in the state of Pennsylvania, and they do this work, and he'll tell you about it.
I had the Charitable Trust and Organizations section within the office's Public Protection Division.
And so what does that mean? What are you protecting?
One of the functions that the Attorney General's office does here in Pennsylvania is we oversee all the property that gets committed to charitable purposes.
So, in other words, if I'm going to donate something to charity, then you oversee that?
Right. People who make gifts to charity, they commit money to either find a cure for cancer or to educate people through scholarships. People give money in their estates and trusts. Sometimes they respond to a public solicitation campaign, maybe a telemarketing call they get, or a direct mail piece.
Now, there's two questions come up. If I was investigating someone before I gave them money, would it be you or the Department of State?
They could call either one.
They
could call either one, and we would help to get them into the right office to answer whatever questions they have.
Or to see the documentation.
Or to see the documentation. The charities are required to file what is referred to as an informational return with the IRS when they meet certain filing thresholds. It's called an IRS Form 990. 20 years ago, this form was not readily available, but today people have access to these forms over the internet now. And we certainly encourage donors to follow more of a planned giving approach. We all benefit if people make the most thoughtful, reasoned decisions when they donate to charity. There are some charities that do a very, very good job. They're much more efficient with donations. Maybe 80, 90 cents out of every dollar gets to their stated program services. There are other organizations that don't do quite as well. We've seen some cases where they're at 10% or less, 5% or less, and depending on what those circumstances are, that's not necessarily illegal. And so we have to respect their rights to go out and raise money in the public, and donors are really our best hedge. And if they're making an informed decision,
then they will support them and they're gone.
Ideally, that's the theory.
Now, if there is the data on how much percent goes to the actual cause versus administration, is that data available in your office, or is on that
it's 990? It is available in most registration offices. That information is available. You can do your own calculation review, if you will, if you have access to the 990 or up to doing that sort of thing. But people who don't feel that they're confident enough to cipher their way through all that information can certainly call, and in most of the instances where there's these registration regs, they will find a resource that will be able to tell them X number.
So they can call your office and find out, and you can give some general information from the documents that you have. Right. Oh, that's terrific. Now, so that's in giving money the first time. Now you gave the money and got screwed.
If you find that if people who think that they may have been misled or lied to,
that's the word.
When those sorts of circumstances happen, they should definitely call and let us know that they've got this complaint. They can either call us over the telephone, they can reach out to us through our website, and file electronically. They can mail a complaint to us. However they want to, they can come into the office.
Wow, I see. That's
but they can come in and share their story of experience and tell us, look, I think I was misled. I gave some money
Right.
under false pretense or whatever, and we'll do our best to try to verify or follow as to whether or not that's a.
So in other words, you follow up. If somebody comes in, this so-called association was raising money to help kids somewhere, and you found out that hey, if you got ripped off, that you would come in and you would at least. Not that you would get their money, but you would start the process of investigating, whether it's contacting them. Yeah.
Right. I mean, everybody has to struggle with the limitations on resources.
Right.
Certainly, if you happen to be the very first person that has ever filed a complaint with us about a particular organization, and you're complaining about a $20 or $25 donation issue, that most likely will be a complaint that we keep on file for future reference.
I see.
You may be the first of the next 10,000 complaints.
So that won't even get like a letter to that place yet. Probably not.
Maybe not. But if the circumstances of what you're complaining about suggest that there is likely a pattern of practice to whatever has been going on, or you may be the 6th or 8th or 80th complaint that we receive where we say, look, we think this is something now that we really need to focus on.
I think that's a great thing about the regulatory agencies is that even if they don't, like the FTC and you guys, whatever, even if they don't right away, get in the cop car and go after these people, you're building a case to protect other people. If this is, and if you say, they won't do anything or whatever, but you're going to do something by putting that information.
It's useful information. Certainly useful information for us. There's an important dynamic here. I mean, when people give a $10 donation or they commit to a $20 donation because they got a call at the dinner hour. Right. Most people are not going to bear the inconvenience, time, and expense of chasing down that donation. Oftentimes, they will not have the sort of requisite memory. They're not going to remember the details sufficient to really pursue a case to a reasonable conclusion. But again, patterns and practices are important to us. If 100 people who really don't know one another and have no way of knowing that, I have no way of knowing that you complain because you had a similar experience any more than you do about me, in the aggregate, that can be a compelling case. But developing that case, having the people call in or having those complaints come to our attention, that's a material part of making this kind of case.
To me, the thing is, you're saying to me, what I hear is that, even if you're ripped out of a small amount, what the heck, it's worth filing a piece of paper or a phone call to your office just to accumulate evidence to protect people in the future, because if there's 100 of you people doing it.
No one calls us, we're apt to not
do anything. Right. Yeah. Well, that's terrific. So that's how you do it. So it's really protecting anybody, nonprofits, whether you're giving money or have given money, and particularly now, I guess we're doing this interview during the holiday season, so a lot of people are probably pulling on heartstrings. This must be a busy time of year for you.
It's a good year for charities. I mean, there's the usual triggers: natural disasters, holidays. That's when you can expect a little increased activity.
Okay, so here's how you find your local Attorney General's office. You go to naag.org, naag.org, that's the National Association of Attorney Generals, and they have a state map there, and you click on the state, and you can contact their office. And also, if you get stuck, you can just call 211. That's your local hotline for trying to find any kind of services like that. So don't get taken advantage of because you have an open heart and want to give to some people, because people are going to take advantage of that and probably rip you off.